who are watching online, like Luke Barth, who's homesick today. Or he's just playing hooky, I don't know. If I haven't met you, my name is Graham. I work for a church called Real Life that meets here at the school. I also graduated from this school in 2004. I sat in one of these seats back here in Roth's class when he was like brand new here. I was here before Roth. Okay, that's how old I am. I took geometry in this very class. I remember a lot of it. I like geometry. That's besides the point. As I said, I'm a youth pastor here in Chelan. Some of you guys know that. Some of you guys, we're just talking about going to camp and stuff like that. Some of you have been on this trip or trips like this with me. I have led, I think this will be my 18th trip, short-term missions trip that I've led. I myself have been on 25 different missions trips throughout my lifetime. We have gone to places like the Baja Peninsula in Mexico. We have gone to Puerto Rico for a number of years. We went to Alaska. Some of you went to Alaska with me a few years ago. One year we went to New Orleans. One year we ended up on the Washington coast during COVID because we couldn't go anywhere. So we've done these trips a lot. We do one every year. And I say this every single year, and I'm going to keep saying it until I don't believe it anymore. Okay? There's nothing you can do in high school that's going to affect your life like going on this trip. There's just nothing. Because I talk with all kinds of kids. I talk with kids who are the valedictorians. I talk with kids who throw the winning touchdown. I talk with kids who are state champions. And they're like, no, actually this missions trip is better than winning state. Like, that's how much it affects my life. I've talked with kids who are the most popular kids walking these halls and the least popular kids. Okay? There's nothing you can do in high school. There's no club you can be on. There's no other trip you can be on. There's no other sport you can play. That's not a knock on all those things. You should do those things. You should definitely do those things. But nothing is going to affect your life like this trip. I just promise you that. And those of you who've been on it before, that's why you're in this room again, because you know that to be true. Okay? So, super excited to take you guys back to Costa Rica. We go on the Pacific side of Costa Rica because Costa Rica touches both the Pacific and the Caribbean. So we go on the Pacific side on the Nicoya Peninsula, which is up north. Where we are is, I would say, pretty similar to Hawaii. Very tropical, humid, hot, beautiful. It's a big surf area. It's also a really big tourist destination for Central Americans. So it's absolutely gorgeous where we go. And we get to hang out there and live there and work with people for a week. What we do there can range every year, but what we got to do last year was pretty cool. We did some work projects. I always tell the missionaries, like, we don't have a lot of skills because we're teenagers, but we have a lot of energy. So they always give us really some hard jobs that kind of older groups can't come in and do. And so last year we moved a lot of dirt. And it was a lot of work, but it ended up being like oddly fun at times. And some of you learned what hard work in high heat feels like. We also got to do some home visits last year where we took grocery staples, so like rice, beans, coffee, sugar, stuff like that, and we would go to the poorest people around. And for some of you, like, that was like eye-opening, right? Like, you'd never seen poverty like this before. Where we're talking about people who live in like actual shanties, okay? Like, they have collected stuff from the dump, stuff that is washed up on shore, and they have built a house. And it's like dirt floor, kind of gross. You wouldn't want to stay in it for a night, and they live there. And so we went and we visited them. We also did other home visits for people around the community, people who had been injured or sick. Myself, we went to Farron, didn't you go with me and Luke? Was that what it was? And we went and visited the lady who was a widow. Like, so just kind of got to visit these people in their own homes who are just kind of forgotten a little bit. Oh, thank you for joining us, Mr. Pearl.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Um,
Nice to see you.
What else did we get to do last year? Oh, we put on a little sports camp. We went up to a community and we just played sports, and kids were like, what are all these white people doing out here, like kicking a soccer ball around? And then eventually, like, some kids joined in, and then some more kids joined in, and then by the time we were done, there was like 30 or 40 kids there, just in a neighborhood where not a lot of things go on. So we get to do a lot of different stuff, and this year I can't tell you exactly what it'll look like, but there'll probably be some similarities and My goal for you is to experience a lot of different stuff. And my other goal for you is to be uncomfortable a little bit. Like, I want you to grow. I want you to experience what it's like to be in somebody else's culture, okay? I want you to learn about their culture and their language and stuff like that, to see how a lot of the world lives. We as Americans can live in a bubble, and I love that bubble. I travel a lot, and when I come back to America, I'm always happy to be American. But it's great to see how other people in the world live. So a little bit about Costa Rica. Costa Rica is part of Central America. It is the second most southern country in Central America. So Panama is right below it, and then you have South America. Okay, within Central America, Costa Rica is kind of the gem. Like, people from all over the world are trying to get into the United States to better their life. And that's pretty true of Costa Rica also, especially the neighboring countries. People want to they want to get into Costa Rica to better their life, because the country they come from is not as great as Costa Rica. Costa Rica has, I mean, obviously it's beautiful and has a ton of tourism and stuff like that, but it's also just a really safe country as well. That might be something that your parents ask about, is this safe? When you look at the top 10 ways that we judge safety in America, crime rates and stuff like that, Costa Rica is safer in 9 out of 10 of them than we are in the United States. So like, I was talking to somebody last year and I said, yeah, actually, oh no, wait, it was Krista's mom. I said, no, actually Krista is safer with me in Costa Rica than Jack is here with you guys, because Costa Rica is just a safer country. So I love that we get to experience a different culture, and it's really safe as well. What else about the trip? I don't know. I'll let you ask questions at the end of this. To apply, I'm going to go through this packet of information, and this has everything you need to know on it. It's a lot of information. I get that up front. My information is on here also, so you can always ask me questions, or kids who've gone on this trip before, you can ask them. But hopefully this gives you everything you need to know. So the trip is August 7th through the 15th. That's a Friday through a Saturday. It's also the week before you start fall sports. So if you play volleyball, cross country, soccer, football, you don't have practice that week. So you don't have to worry about missing practice for that week. The trip is $2,000. That's the exact same price it was last year. If that price tag like shocks you and you're like, oh, my family doesn't have $2,000, we'll figure it out, okay? I'm gonna show you how to raise that money so that you could raise all the money and not pay anything out of pocket if you're willing to put the work in. I also, as a student at Chelan High School, I went on trips like this when I was your age. I had a single mom. We were on free and reduced lunch. I had government health care. On Saturdays, we went to the food bank to get our food for the week. Like, we had no money, and I still would find ways to pay for this trip, okay? So if you think that money is the reason you can't go, you are wrong, right? Just work with me and I'll work with you and we'll figure it out, okay? I'm not gonna give you the trip, but I'm gonna show you how to pay for it, okay? So, $2,000 for the cost of the trip. There are 4 mandatory meetings that I need you to be at. They're each 2 hours long and at the community center. They're not, listen, it's not like a waste of your time and busy work, okay? I've got better things to do than waste my time and give you guys busy work, right? But to go on this trip, there's certain information you need to know to prepare for it and to be safe while you're there, right? And I need to have time to tell you that. We'll spend a lot of time too where I'm just gonna tell you how to raise your money. I'm gonna show you how to write support letters. We're gonna get our big yard sale organized. And I just need you to do that, okay? Parts of the meeting, yeah, can be boring. But for the most part, if you miss those meetings, like, it makes your trip less enjoyable, all right?
Graham, can I add that, like, when I do trips with the school, we'll have like 30 meetings leading up to it. So like 4 is, like, you can understand like how important those meetings would be to be at and stuff. Like, there's no wasted time, like you said, you're just cut right to it.
And I give you all the dates right now. So you can go to your club coach and you can say, these are dates I cannot make. This trip is really important to me, okay? You could go to your boss this summer and you can say, hey, this July meeting, I know I can't make it at that, and then they can give you the date off right away, all right? So that's why I give you all these ahead of time. I don't ask you or require you to be at anything that's not on here, okay? Those ones are the mandatory meetings. Now this year, I've decided to give a little bit of grace, a little bit, in the sense that if something comes up and you can't make the meeting, right? You can miss one meeting, but you have to meet with one of my leaders in order to get updated. Again, it's not because I want busy work, it's because the information is important. We might get down there and you're doing something that is unsafe and you don't know because you weren't at the meeting, right? Or maybe you just aren't well prepared for the trip because you weren't at the meeting. So you can meet with one of my leaders, not with me, with one of my leaders to get information about that trip. Here's the catch. It costs you $100 extra to go on the trip now. If you miss a meeting, it's $100 more. That $100 goes into the leader's trip that you meet with, okay? So they're super excited to meet with you. That won't be hard to find a leader to meet with you, okay? But it'll cost you $100, okay? So if you don't talk to your boss and you don't get work off, if you're too afraid to talk to your coach, your club coach, and say, I can't be at practice, just pay the extra $100. I don't care. That is your option this year, and that's what I'm trying, because I just can't meet with everybody who misses a meeting. It's just, I end up spending more time with the 5 kids who missed the meeting than the 25 kids who were at the meeting. So those are your 4 meetings. To apply for this trip, you're gonna give me all this paperwork back. That's behind here, we're about to go through it, and you're gonna give me a $500 deposit, okay? Now that $500 honestly just goes right into saving your plane ticket that I'm gonna reserve tomorrow probably. If you're saying, my family doesn't have $500 right now, that's okay, call me, text me, let's figure this out, okay? Money will not be the reason, right? You'll pay for the whole trip. I'm not gonna pay for you, but I'll help you figure that how to do that, right? If it's like, hey, give me $100, give me $50, give me something so I know that you're serious about this, okay? And then I'll figure out how to give you a loan until we can figure out how to raise the money for it, okay? But I promise you, I've never had a kid not go on this trip because of money. Like I've never had a kid get to the day and just be like, I did everything I could and I couldn't raise the money. It's never happened, okay? I've had some kids back out because they thought they couldn't raise the money. They're like, oh, we're getting too close, I can't do it. I was like, we could do it still, right? And I've got a ton of cool stories about kids who owed me a ton of money like the week before we left, and all the money came in. They did what I told them to do and the money came in, all right? So, $500 and then all this paperwork that we're about to go through, okay? First one, it's just a general application. It lets me know who you are, what kind of experience you have on trips like this, anything I should be aware of, allergies, junk like that. The most important pieces is I have to have your full legal name, okay? And your date of birth. Those things have to be perfect on your plane ticket and it has to match your ID, okay? So let's say you have, let me see, who here has a weird, funny, oh, maybe your name is, you go by Kira Matthews, okay? But your actual legal name is Kira Rain Van Heusen O'Flattery, okay? Just hypothetical, right, Kira? Let's just say that that's it. I have to have your legal name. Because when you go through security at the airport, your passport has to match the name on the ticket, okay? Or they don't let you through. So, whatever that is, just let me know. If you have 2 last names, a hyphenated last name. If you have 2 middle names, I just need to know that, okay? If you have an embarrassing middle name, that's okay. I'll just make fun of you. And then I'll put it on your paperwork. All right, so that's the first one. Second one is just a general like waiver, like if you were going on a band trip, like maybe you're going to Disneyland with Mr. Burdick, whose birthday was yesterday, right? You have to fill out one of these things. Mom signs it, says you can go on the trip. That's all this is. It's just for the church, okay? Next one, these are the fun ones, okay? It is not easy to take someone else's child out of the country, and it shouldn't be, okay? That should be hard, right? So this first document is your parents saying that I have the legal right to take you out of the country as a minor, okay? These other documents behind it are individual ones that your parents are gonna have notarized, okay? They will know what that is because notarizing documents is an adult thing, okay? You don't know because you'd have no reason to do that. Essentially what's gonna happen is your parents are gonna take these documents to the bank. The banks always have notaries. Maybe you have a friend or know somebody else who is a notary, and they're gonna go And so Judah's parents are going to go to the bank, and they are going to sign these documents in front of the notary, and the notary is going to stamp it with like a magic stamp that they have, and then they're going to sign it, and basically says, I watched Judah's parents sign these documents. They are legally binding. Okay? Both of your parents have to do this, or whatever parents have legal rights to you. Okay? Now, I know for some of you, you're like, that's my mom and dad. Okay? For some of us, that's not as simple, but we can make it work. Okay? I've had all kinds of kids in all kinds of situations to go on this. Myself, my dad lived in Wenatchee when I grew up, so my mom would go do one of these, and then on a weekend when I go to my dad's house, him and I would go to the bank, and he would do one of these, right? Ironically, you don't actually have to be there for this, just your parents do. If you have a parent who is deceased, I know how to do that. If you have a parent who lives on the East Coast or in another country, I know how to do that, okay? If you have a complicated situation, just come and talk to me, and we'll figure it out. We have plenty of time. If you can't do these papers are due back to me by the 15th. If you need a little extra time because your situation is complicated, no problem. We have to have this before we cross any borders, okay? So all these papers and a $500 deposit are due back to me by February 15th. That's in about 3 or 4 weeks. You can give it to myself. You can give it to my buddy Matt. You can even give it to Mr. Roethlisberger or Mr. Pearl. They would find a way to get it to me. And if you have any questions, because I know it's a lot of information, my number is on here. It's right here. My name is bolded. My number is on there. You or your mommy can call me or text me, and I'll answer any of the questions about this trip. You go home and you tell your mom about this trip, and she's like, I don't even know who this Graham character is. Like, I don't know about this. Just have her call me. Okay? I'll have a conversation with her, and we'll see if we can make it work. All right? At our 4 meetings, and I'll save some time for questions in a second. At our 4 meetings, I'm going to tell you how to raise all this money. Our first meeting, I'm going to teach you how to write a support letter. That's basically a letter requesting money from your friends and family. I'm going to teach you how to write a great support letter. And every year, without fail, somebody sends out their support letters and they get all their money paid for. The whole trip is paid for by their support letters. They don't have to do any other fundraising, right? Usually it's because their mom is Melissa Shumway and she does most of the work for them. But
Taylor cannot write.
Well, listen, you don't even have Mallory this year, dude. I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, what are you gonna do? Listen, I'm gonna teach you how to write a support letter. Okay, better than chat can teach you. Okay, and then you're gonna go home and you're gonna send that out to everybody on mom and dad's Christmas card list. Okay, and money's just gonna come in. From people that you know, people that you don't know, like that aunt that you met one time at a wedding, but you don't even remember her, like she's gonna send you $20, okay? So a couple years ago, my nephew went on this trip, and I tracked. I was like, I just want to do a little, I don't know, experiment. So I tracked how much time he put into his letters and how much money came back. It took him about 4 hours to write his letter and edit it and get the addresses and put them on all the envelopes. Part of that was because he didn't know how to address an envelope, so we had to do a little lesson there and send them all off. It took him about 4 hours, okay? Sounds like a lot of time, okay? And he didn't actually send out that many. I think he sent out like 12 letters, okay? I would send out as many as you can. He had $400 come back from that 4 hours of work, okay? So how much money did he make an hour? $100 an hour, right? Listen, I know it's boring. It's boring. You're writing a letter and you're tri-folding and licking disgusting envelopes. Like, I know it's boring, but where else are you making $100 an hour? Okay? You're not making that at the Shaka Shack downtown, I'll tell you that. So, you're not making nothing down there. $100 an hour, okay? I'm gonna teach you how to do that. You gotta put in the work, but you'll get a ton of, it's free money. Like, it's really great. It's the most underutilized way that people to make money here. Okay. Second, we host Chelan's biggest yard sale. If you haven't heard of that, something's wrong with you, because it's by far the biggest. I think it's the biggest yard sale in Central Washington. Maybe bigger. I don't know. We make a whole bunch of money doing that. But here's the thing: is it's not a group project. You know how in group projects one person does 80% of the work, one person does like 15% of the work, and then there's 2 losers that are just on their phone the whole time, right? And everybody gets the same grade, okay? Doesn't work that way on my trip, okay? You get paid for how much you work. So we tally everything up, we figure out like, hey, we can pay everybody, last year was $35 an hour, okay? We're like, we can pay everybody $35 an hour. So we go and we look, we're like, how many hours did Jaden work? Okay, Jaden worked 5 hours. He gets $35 an hour for those 5 hours, okay? How many hours did Jonah work? Oh, Jonah worked 20 minutes. Like, okay, Jonah only gets paid for 20 minutes, right? So you get paid for the amount of work you do. The last way you can make some money is sometimes people will call me and they'll be like, hey, can I pay some kids to come and weed my garden? Like, yeah, absolutely. And I'll figure out which kids would be right, and I send them that direction. Usually they overpay you for the work that you do, okay? Again, you will not miss out on this trip because of money, right? There might be other reasons, but you won't miss out on this trip because of money. Okay, last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'll open it up for questions, okay? I know I've kind of said this already, but if there's anything you hear me say, this is it. This is the best thing you can do. This is absolutely the best thing you can do. So while you're thinking in your mind like, oh, this is too much money. Oh, I think I have a volleyball camp that weekend. Oh, maybe that's the weekend of our family vacation. Or, oh, I want to work more at the Shaka Shack so I can actually make some more money, yada, yada, yada. All of whatever excuses in your mind right now is dumb. It is not, whatever it is, holds no weight compared to what this trip is going to do for you. There's a reason why I see kids from years and years ago, and the first thing they always say to me, if it's not about camp that we went to, it's about the missions trip. Graham, you remember when we were in Mexico? Graham, you remember that year in Puerto Rico when we saw that bug or whatever it was? Graham, you remember that trip that we did in the last, like, they always talk about these trips. Always. Because they're life-impacting trips. So whatever excuse is in your head right now, just know, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth a week of work or another volleyball camp or whatever it is. Like, you get the opportunity to go on 5 of these in your life, okay? From 8th grade to senior year, I'll take you. 5 in your life, right? Take advantage of that, all right? I'm gonna push pause on this thing.